people don't give Tamra enough credit for being as smart as she is. It is why she is the #1 villain on all of the franchises.
It's kind of the same thing with Bethany. Voice of reason feels like the wrong word, but the person who's going to be there that's saying the things that you're screaming at the TV, you know what I mean? Like, and yes, doing them wrong, but she is saying the things that, you know, some of us want to say.
We gonna stir it up and do things our way. So if you wanna move, get out of our way.
Well, hello, PCP Astrology friends. We're back.
We're back. We're back. I didn't know if it would happen today.
We made it somehow. We made it to recording day today.
We made it. It was a rough week. I think we needed this, you know.
We did. That's what I was like voice noting. I was like, I need to do this one today. I have to like.
I think we can unleash and not feel guilty about it if it's Tamra.
Absolutely. Yes. So yes, that is who we're doing today. We are doing Tamra, Sue, Waddle, Vieth, Barney, Judge. That woman has a lot of names. She might as well be Elizabeth fucking Taylor.
A lot of names. Well, I wanted someone that I could talk shit about and not feel guilty about. And Heather last week, after I gassed her up, then I caught up on the last 3 episodes, and she just tanked. End of season, she tanked. So I take back everything I said.
I mean, honestly, it was very hard because we recorded those episodes about her about a month ago.
Yep.
So, but I'm glad that we recorded them because I still stand by everything that I said. Because just like I said, like how dare I humanize these women?
Right.
I still don't think I'm wrong, but also I don't know. I could go harder on these women if I knew their rising sign, because
there you go.
That allows a lot more depth to them and with
Right.
knowing their houses and everything like that. But not knowing that makes it a little bit hard for me to see certain things. But at the same time, I think we saw though many with Heather, like what I talked about, her control stuff, like even like, like her food control. And she was like, I don't eat lunch. I have a liquid lunch. Like,
I just saw that.
Yeah.
Oh, Heather.
Oh, Heather.
Well, Tamra, I don't know that we can humanize her.
I don't know either.
So.
I don't know either. I'm wearing my Pisces sweatshirt today, which is my rising sign. So I can hopefully be a little bit like, I don't know, Piscean about her, but.
Right. Tamra is my, she's my birthday twin, not the date exactly, the year, but the date. She's my birthday twin. So when I was looking through it, I saw some of her placements, and she's a Virgo sun. So same for me. And when I was looking at them, I was like, okay, I was kind of worried. I think I was worried initially that she was going to be humanized, and then it kind of turned, and I was like, no, what if I see the qualities that I don't like about myself mirrored back to me through Tamra? Then what do I do? How do I cope with that? Stacy?
Well, I mean, we've talked about this before, that I think the one you really have to worry about being married back to is Lala, since you guys are truly birthday twins.
Literal birthday twins. I'm not ready to go there yet either.
No.
But Tamra, let's go. Let's go with Tamra.
All right. Let's dive in to Tamra.
You know what?
Barney. Tammy Sue. Let's do
Tammy
it.
Sue.
All right.
Like Linus.
You're whoopee, so you feel comforted while we talk about her.
Yes. This is my security blanket.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, there's
Tamra,
the
my autistic sister. Tamra. Yes. Okay, I'm excited again.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, let's talk about Tamra. Tammy Sue is a Virgo sun. She is a Leo moon, and we do not know her rising sign.
Right.
So we cannot tell that type of stuff.
Start with, how many placements is that? When you first sent me this chart, I was like, this is fucking absurd. Because I thought all we shared was the Libra sun. I mean, oh my God, the Virgo sun. But then when I look, I saw the Libra sun. When I looked at her, this is crazy. They have stacked Virgo.
She is a stacked Virgo. I mean, okay, of major placements, she has 5 major placements in there. And then if we add the 2 asteroids that I like to use, Ceres and Juno, 7 placements. But just to have 5 major placements in there, huge, especially 2 of the innermost planets, Venus and Mercury there. Oh my God. Oh my God. It just says so much about her that in a lot of ways, I almost don't care what her rising sign is because she's so weighted to Virgo. The only reason I care about what her rising sign is so that I would know what her houses are. So it could tell us where these planets are playing and how they're interacting. Yeah. But that's the only kind of reason, because she is so Virgoian. So Virgoian. This is why she talks so much. This is why she cannot keep her mouth shut. This is why she is identified with what she says. Virgo is ruled by Mercury. She has Mercury, the ruler, sitting right in there. She also has Uranus, which is also a very verbal planet, a planet of communication, sitting there almost conjunct with it. I mean, we put all these guys, and you got Pluto. I mean, oh my gosh, we're going to get into all of this.
And looking at like Venus and Mercury being in Virgo makes so much sense to me. Her having a Virgo Venus makes sense to me.
Venus in Virgo is also in its fall there. It does not enjoy being in Virgo. And then it's in red, so that means it's in retrograde. So even more so, it is not having a good time there.
She's not very loving. And that was one thing, not to jump into quickly, but that was one thing I wanted to ask you too, is because there are a lot of preconceived notions about Virgos being very maternal, right? And how do you think that translates for her? Because I don't know that I would call her maternal necessarily. So is that a misconception on Virgos, or is that her? Explain it. Make it make sense.
It's not a misconception of Virgos. They do tend to be, that is one of the, what I would call archetypes of a Virgo, is that they are maternal. They are associated with like the Virgin, but that's not really kind of like right, but it's almost like Mother Earth in a sense. Right. I mean, it is interesting that she has the asteroid Ceres here, which is the goddess of the seasons and of the harvest and of the earth. So it is in the right place here. Like being, so it's actually something I did make note of, is that she is actually very maternal and nurturing, but I see it, but because of, oh my God, all of these things right here. Yeah. Where's my note about it? Okay. So because it's in Virgo, because she has her sun. Okay. Let's just look at these 3 right here, because they're all together. The sun is at 9 degrees, Ceres is at 4 degrees, and then Venus is at 3. Venus and Ceres are really conjunct. And then this is a very close association right here, close conjunction in a natal chart. In a transit chart, I don't know if I would keep them that close. But she needs to find that balance between her masculine and her feminine sides. That's one thing about her. Although, like, Virgo is a feminine sign, quote unquote, feminine sign. So it's going to do that, but she's got Venus in retrograde. So that's going to kind of impact things, but then she's got Ceres there. So there's that need, like being in nature can really help her actually. So I know that she likes to ride motorcycles, and she likes to go out on long motorcycle rides. And I would almost say, go take that motorcycle out and then go camping. If she doesn't, but I think
she does the Big Bear. Isn't it Big Bear where she has the other? And she talks about that which that kind of seemed like bullshit to me, but it makes sense that you would say that now. When she was saying that she likes kind of be disconnected, it sounded like a lot. I just assumed it was untrue because she was saying it, but it does, lend credence to what you're saying.
I think she is. Yeah, I totally forgot about the Big Bear house. Like, I think Big Bear is a better place for her. I think she feels more energized. She feels like she comes back to her roots there. Now, when it comes to being a nurturer, like for kids and for family, she is a nurturer, but I feel like she's a better nurturer for like small children and animals. Like when kids are like small, she's an excellent mother. Okay, I'm not going to say, I want to preface this. I'm not saying she's a bad mother. I'm not saying anything like that. This is what I'm reading. This is what I'm seeing. This is all supposition. Again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist, a psychologist. I'm not a financial advisor. None of those things. This is for entertainment purposes only.
Right.
But what I see with this conjunction here is that she is very maternal, but she's the best mom that she is when her children are young. When they get older, she has a hard time kind of accepting that they're no longer these little children, these little babies, and that they need her. And kind of when they become separate people and get into their own identity, that's a little harder for her and like harder to relate. It's not that she like hates them or anything. That's not what I'm saying at all. But there can be some parents have a hard time. And I'm saying parents, some parents have a hard time letting go of their children and seeing their children as actual adults or individual beings. And it's kind of like, I don't know if you ever watched Sister Wives, but it's like Cody from Sister Wives. Like he's a great dad to the little kids, but once the kids get older, he kind of is like, nah. Now, I don't think she's exactly like that of like, I don't want to deal with these kids. It's just her relationships. She doesn't know how to navigate them as easily.
Yeah.
So, and that's something she has to work on about like, how do I nurture an adult now? And I think we see those issues with her friendships of like, she doesn't know how to nurture an adult. Like she doesn't know how to nurture Shannon. She doesn't know how to nurture Vicky. She doesn't know how to nurture Jen. She doesn't know how to be nurturing because of this Mercury and Pluto and Uranus and Juno.
That is crazy. Like that chart is crazy. And then the Leo moon. Who was it that had a Leo moon? That we talked about?
It's Shannon has a Leo moon.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
And well, we think Shannon has a Leo moon. It can kind of, she's kind of on the cusp, I think, of a Leo/Virgo moon. I think that's what we had. I'm trying to remember.
I was just trying to think of like the Leo moon and how it presents. And I was trying to think if there was any correlations I could draw or parallels,
Mm-hmm. I mean, I like Tamra's moon. What we have right here is dead center. And I would say she's for sure a Leo moon. This is like, if we go anytime in the day, it's still going to be in Leo. So she's still going to be a Leo moon. For her, like again, and it's conjunct Jupiter here. It's going to expand her emotions. Like she's just like, she goes, I mean, this woman is, no matter what, she is a tiny person in stature, but she is big no matter what.
Definitely.
No matter what. Her emotions are big. How she feels about things are big. Like she feels them and she wants you to know them.
That part. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're my big feelings, but they're everyone's problem.
Yes. You hit the nail on the head right there. Mm-hmm. Well, let me go real quick to like the Venus and the Sun. This, her love of like plastic surgery and looking good. And like, I also remember like, I think it was her first season on there when it was her 40th birthday and Simon got her a Rolex. And like, that was the big thing of like the woman loves luxury and likes to look good and feel good. And that is extremely common with Venus and the Sun together. Like, absolutely.
Okay.
But I think it's one of those things where I don't know if she always believes it.
Like receiving it, she doesn't believe that it's coming from a pure place.
I don't know if she always believes that she's worthy of it.
Oh, Tamra.
Yeah.
No, there you go.
I know. Yeah.
Tamra.
I don't know if she always believes that, like, it's something that she wants and it's something that she gets because she works hard to get it, whether it's marrying the right person, working very hard for it, and she's actually somebody who is good with her money. Like, I think because she didn't grow up with much. It's so funny because Emily's always the one to talk about, like, I didn't grow up with much, but let's not forget, like, Tamra did not grow up with much either.
Right.
Like, and it's not something she talks about a ton, but she didn't grow up with much. And she's done very well for herself, both
Mhm.
marrying well, divorcing well, using the show. But I think like she's money smart.
Right.
And again, I think that's one of the reasons she went hard on Jim, but she doesn't talk about money. She just wants to be money.
Right. Now that you mention it, that is true. That is true. And she wasn't, I don't think, any more involved in arguments relating to money than she was with anything else. You know what I mean? Like she meddles regardless. Some people I
Mhm.
feel like stick to their like niche of things that bother them. You know what I mean? Like Gina's is don't involve the kids. Like this is affecting my children. She's got children. And then Emily's is her intelligence. I noticed that
Mhm.
today that she like that's a pattern for her is like she does not want to be called dumb. And she doesn't like the single moms who depend on men. That's a trigger for her. But Tamara's
Mhm.
just like, I'll call you out on anything. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care.
Yep.
Just
Mhm.
anything, whatever works for me. And the point I'm
Ex-
through right now.
Yes. Yes. But like also I totally forgot about it until one of the last episodes. She had wanted to work in fashion and then she got pregnant with Ryan and everything like that. So this is like the sun in Venus is a big kind of like wanting to work in the beauty industry or fashion or something like that. So
Right.
like being beautiful, feeling luxurious is very important to her, but I don't know if she ever thinks that she like really deserves it or that once she gets it, sometimes when we want something really badly enough and then we finally get it, we go, "Oh, this is it." And that might be kind of it. It doesn't feed her soul like she wants it to.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, oh, well, I won't psychoanalyze her.
Yes, you will. Come on, that's the point of
I know,
this.
okay, well, I mean, I just think with everything that's coming with if the intentions aren't pure behind it, it's never gonna be satisfying. You know what I mean? Like I think she does always think that it's gonna scratch some itch if she can, like with Brooks and the cancer, it's like maybe she'll be satisfied after she can show everyone that she was right. And then it's like, well, that's not really fulfilling either. And I think that's why she kind of like switches through friendships and things. And I made a whole TikTok one day talking about Tamara specifically and how she like the thing that you need to understand about her, I think, is that everything is transactional. You know what I mean? Like for her, like with love, and maybe I'm trying to think because there was a guy that I knew who was a Venus Virgo. His Venus was in Virgo, and it was very like he wasn't. I don't want to say he was cold, but that's just because I'm trying to be nice. You know what I mean? It was a little cold and
Yeah.
very like I had to notice. Like I said with my son, when he's autistic and he didn't say I love you for a really long time. And when I looked it up, it said learn to receive love in other ways, which was life changing. But when I looked at him, it was like, okay, I would notice like if he was getting a blanket for me or, doing something. Now combine that with the fact that he was doing bare minimum and I'm like looking for it anywhere, realistic. But like acts of service was a big thing for him of like, and I would notice that of like, this is at least an attempt of trying to do that. But I'm trying to think with Tamra, like, I don't really see that presented. And maybe it's just not something that you would notice on a reality show,
Well, I mean, you bring up two things. One thing I think that's very interesting that you said about like that guy, and he seemed cold with it
Mhm.
because like I mentioned earlier, Venus is in its detriment here.
Right.
So I've talked before how Venus loves to be in Pisces. It's not its home, but it's in its exaltation. So it's a place that it really enjoys. So it's like you think about any place that you enjoy being even when you're not at home, like that's how Venus feels in Pisces. So this is Virgo's directly across from Pisces. So it's like the furthest place from there. It also is Venus rules Libra. And so this is the sign right before we go into Libra. So it's like rising into Libra. So if you think about like, it's always coldest right before the dawn. It's always darkest right before the dawn. That's kind of how Venus is right here. So she's even more debilitated here. Her Venus is even more debilitated because of the position that it's in. And then it's also retrograde.
Right.
So I do think it is hard for her to express love. I think it's just hard for her to express love.
Yeah.
And maybe not feel like it's going to be, I think a lot of people in that way, this is me really psychoanalyzing her, but I feel like that, like a lot of people like feel like it might be used against them. And she very well might have that. Like, so there's just so much here. So I have to talk about all of this stuff.
I know, it's like, where to begin?
All right, let me go with my notes because I'm just like,
okay. Consult the note.
So not even, hold on. I'm just going to take Juno out for a second because I just don't, I just want to make it a little cleaner to see. So real quick. So just Uranus, Pluto, and Mercury right here. This is like, it is, she likes to speak truth to power. She can be erratic with her speech. She can be forward thinking with her speech. Like this is this is why like her mouth is so fucking powerful. Like, but this is the thing is that, and I have to go to my good friend again, Archetypal Universe Butler, because like I look at it and I'm just like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. So Mercury and Uranus combined with Pluto, it says, hold on, where's my tab? Come on. Oh my God. So pressing urges towards intellectual freedom and innovation, intense cravings for mental stimulation and excitement, the powerfully liberating effect of new ideas, a capacity to see through the surface level of reality to its archetypal sources, a tendency toward manic or obsessive thought processes, extreme bouts of verbosity, and Longoria fanatical opinions.
Whoa.
Yeah. Because this is the thing, and we were talking about this offline earlier today. A broken clock is right twice a day. And there are times where she is right. She is right about something, but she becomes fanatical about it. And she's got to make sure that everybody else knows that she's right. But it's like, this isn't your hill to die on necessarily. Ryan being involved with a bookie and like this whole like thing with Shohei Ohtani, that's not your hill to die on. Your hill to die on maybe is to make sure that your friend is going to be okay and taken care of. And there's different ways to show that. But because of your retrograde Venus, you got a really difficult time doing that. So you think speaking truth to power and yelling at her will get through to her. You think that yelling at Shannon is going to get through her head somehow. Maybe you can do that with your children when they're younger because you're their parent, but you can't do that with your children when they're older, and you cannot do that with other adults to make them see things.
Right.
And that's the big thing there. Like she likes to be mentally, she's not a dummy. She is a smart person. She likes to constantly learn things. Like I don't think people don't give Tamra enough credit for being as smart as she is. It is why she is the number one villain on all of the franchises ever. Period. Like and why she is
Longest running,
what?
you know, the longest running. She's been doing this like what? How many years has she been on the show?
Well, she came on in the 3rd season and then she was off for what, like 2 seasons. So she's been doing it for like 12 to 13 years at
Right.
least. Yeah.
Sustainable villain.
Yep.
The things that you're talking about, like some of those characteristics are the reason why I liked her in the beginning, because you're talking about like being able to see through the bullshit. You want, there's like a name of the archetype that I can't remember, but it's kind of the same thing with Bethany, early season Bethany, of when voice of reason feels like the wrong word, but the person who's going to be there that's saying the things that you're screaming at the TV, you know what I mean? Like, and yes, doing them wrong, but she is saying the things that, you know, some of us want to say. That's what we had talked about before too.
Yep. Absolutely. And you're just like, oh my gosh, please just like, oh,
Let's get better.
oh my gosh.
But also another thing that I have come to realize with my Virgo placements is a lot of it is like, I'll try to intellectualize my feelings. And I think that I could see that frustration for her of trying to go to someone like Shannon, because Shannon is individually infuriating for her own reasons. So like, there's that too. When she goes to Shannon and she's like trying to shake her and it's like, listen to me, you know, like you're trying to logic it and there's not, you can't logic into an emotional response from these people. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean, like, as we've already talked about, Shannon is a more emotional feeling person. And yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. Tamra is a more intellectualizing verbal person. Like she's going to think about these things. She's got a Saturn return coming up, her 2nd Saturn return coming up it's going to start in 2026. It's going to come back into Aries.
Was Shannon's Saturn return, her 2nd Saturn return, the car wreck? I mean, the DUI?
Yes. Well, actually, yes, slash Mars hitting her, hitting Neptune.
Okay. So maybe not that intense.
Our Neptune hit her Mars. But no, I mean, this is the thing. She'll be the lessons that Tamra didn't learn back when she was like 27, 30 years old during her first Saturn return are going to come up for her again starting in about a year and a half. Okay. Actually, not even a year and a half, like a year and like about like 14 months actually, because I think it changes in February 2026. So she'll get a taste of it next summer, but because Saturn will dip in a little bit to Aries, she'll start to get a taste, but she got some shit to work on. Like we all have shit to work on, but it might hit her a little hard. Well, right. But also it's going to hit her really hard towards the end of 2025 when Saturn is going over her Chiron, which let's actually talk about this real quick. No, hold on. I want to go back to something real fast. Sorry. Okay. I want to go to just Mercury and Pluto. This is where like, it's like volcanic, like her like volcanic. There was another quote in here for her, for Mercury and Pluto. Because it goes back to like her intellectualizing and like her being smarter than people give her credit for. But it's about a shadow quality though, too. An inclination to ask loaded questions or make others confess, an interrogative style of speaking, a habit of bad-mouthing and sharing the dirt on others, intense or destructive gossip, nasty rumors and mudslinging, attempts to destroy others verbally, muckraking journalism, intrusive reporting, the poison pen or tongue, devastating insults, crude speech, foul mouth, and obsession with sexual innuendo.
Oh my God.
I mean, again, I can't make this up. Rin Butler already wrote this like a lot. And I was like, because I already was, you know, these are things I was like, whoa, this is a lot. This is like, because I mean, look, I also wouldn't be surprised if like Tamra likes to talk dirty in bed. I'm not gonna lie. Like totally. But this is the outward facing stuff. Does that make sense? Like the inward facing, like there are good things about this. Like she says she's going into therapy now, Well,
Mhm.
if she's really she can do very well in therapy. This right here, this Mercury and Pluto, if she's
Mhm.
willing to talk it out, if she's willing to go to these dark places, she can really do some good work. She's not going to lose who she is. Tamara's always going to be Tamara.
Right.
I think sometimes people get afraid that when they get well, that they won't be who they are anymore.
Yes.
Whether it's, physical illness, whether, it's weight loss, whether it's mental illness and stuff like that. I mean, in fact, it was really interesting. Back when I did theater in high school, my theater
Mhm.
teacher, who was a moron, but he had good points. Again, broken clock. That's right.
Right, exactly.
But he said he was like, because and it was more directed towards one student who was battling drug addiction. But he was
Absolutely.
like, he was like, sometimes creative people don't think that they'll be creative without drugs or
Yes.
alcohol, but you can be. And I do think that actually Robert Downey Jr. is a perfect example of somebody
Yeah.
who has been addicted to drugs and alcohol and actually has a better career now than he did when he was high. So I think if Tamara is scared of really doing therapy well and losing herself, she won't. She
Right.
won't. But I do think that she can become a better person and deal with her stuff because, like I've talked about before, Chiron, this little wounded healer, this childhood wound, not a karmic wound, unless we don't deal with it in this lifetime and we carry it over to the next one. This karmic
Right.
wound sits directly across from all these guys here. So when she talked, when she announced her autism, bullshit diagnosis, but when she talked about working on finding out her trauma, working
Mhm.
on her trauma, this is what this is. Like, it
Mhm.
is time for her to work on her trauma because her trauma is what ignites this volcanic eruption of verbal stuff because she's unwilling to really feel her feelings and where Shannon will feel her feelings in her body and it gets in the way of her fucking mouth. Tamara won't feel it in her body. She just gets it out of her mouth.
Right. Which
So it's
resonates. I get that.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. So this is when Saturn crosses here in mid it's gonna happen or starting around like May or something of 2025. Um she might have like a really hard time with therapy because it just really might drudge up a lot of stuff. But if
Mhm.
she can stay with it. So Tamara, if you're listening, because I know she's always in the comments.
Oh, is she? We
She's
have completely steered clear of each other. We
Mhm.
avoid on social media. I guess I
Yeah.
never really said anything bad about her.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Just say
I was
something, annoy her in some way, and she'll get in your comments.
I'm sure she does stay in people's comments.
But like,
So
if she can do that, like she could really grow as a person, and in my opinion, as a personality on TV and as a housewife.
right. And I think there's a stigma around that too, especially in reality television, but specifically Bravo. Thinking about going to therapy or getting sober, it's like these are almost presented as like tropes and like annoying tropes. Like they're kind of like I know it's a really obnoxious example because she is annoying, but like Whitney when she was going on her healing journey, it's like you see that
Mhm.
she is trying to fix things or like deal with her trauma in her childhood and whatever. And it's like it brings up all these things, and that's nice, but it does like wear on people. And Real Housewives of New York City, with all the new housewives, a lot of people have said that their, especially season one, was all about their trauma. And it's like they were trying to bring their trauma to the forefront for whatever reason, but it didn't make compelling television.
Mm-mm.
And VPR, everyone getting sober, a lot of people kind of had opinions about that too, of like, well, if they're not like getting trashed in Sir Alley, then why are we watching any of this? You know what I mean? So I do think that there is sort of this like maybe it's a limiting belief, but it kind of seems legitimate, of this belief that if you're in reality television, like you said, you start healing, you start working on yourself, then it's not going to be like you've lost your spark or your luster and now you're boring and people don't want you on their screens anymore.
Yeah. Which is bullshit.
Right.
Because I think that, because I go back, reality television has been around for like, if we want to think about like not the early days of like necessary, like This American Family from the 1970s, or like even The Real World. Like we want to think about like in our lives constantly for the last about 25 years almost. It doesn't have to be like this. Like, no, we don't want to see like Pollyanna type of stuff. Like not everything can be the Great British Baking Show, you
Right.
know, because we need some high and low, but it doesn't always have to be so toxic.
Right. There's a balance. I think that's the common thread with fans across the Bravo-verse, is that it's like, okay, well, we want to find a balance. And this is kind of what we're talking about too, is like reality TV is supposed to be escapism. And if now all I'm seeing is nobody is ever like, people are rewarded for bad behavior, you know, and especially like these grimy ass fucking men. John Jansen is now coming on our TV. Like they raise men, toxic men on this platform. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, so when they need to find the balance of when it's enjoyable, because that has been a constant struggle for me, even to sit down and watch these last 3 episodes to try to get caught up so that we can record this. Sitting down for 2.5 hours to watch those had an effect on my mental health. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it shouldn't be that way. So I think that it's also, not to get too on my soapbox, but this is my soapbox. It's also Bravo's responsibility to make sure that women are not, that they don't feel like they're going to lose their job if they start healing, or that they need to be awful to each other and bring up like criminal charges and affect people's lives with like court cases for compelling television. It's gross.
I agree. I agree 1,000%. Yes. Yes. Yep. Yeah. It's there. Changes afoot.
I really hope so.
Look, we're recording this on November 18th. At least part 1 of Tamra Judge, because we're going to end it here on part 1.
Yes.
Let's come back next week for part 2. But in the meantime, in between us recording this and this coming out, Pluto will move officially into Aquarius for the next 20 years. No more back and forth. So this can mean a lot to certain people. It means a lot to you because you're an Aquarius moon. It means a lot to Jordan because he's an Aquarius rising.
Love.
Yeah.
So Aquarius, I'm just like, it's the Pluto of it all that's kind of got me a little stressed about, you know.
I'm glad Pluto's moving out of my 10th house anyway.
I
mean, I'm a little scared with my 12th house, but I might have a spiritual awakening.
Love that for you.
Which, look, if I have a spiritual awakening versus like losing all my money, I can deal with that a lot better.
No shit. Mine's going into 8th house is my Aquarius. So that's got me nervous. You can tell me if I need to be nervous, but it's got me the limited things that I know about 8th house. 8th house kind of scares me, especially Pluto in it. It's kind of got me like clenching a little bit.
Well, I mean, I have Pluto in my 8th house natally, and I mean, it's a wild ride. It's fun.
It's fine.
I have it with my moon too. So
okay.
Yeah. This is why, like, you guys have never seen me yell at somebody, but I've talked about, Lindsay Hubbard has her Pluto and moon together. And so when Lindsay Hubbard gets mad, as much as I dislike Lindsay Hubbard for certain reasons, but I also understand her anger at times, because when I blow my top, I blow it like that. But I don't blow my top very often, if that makes sense. Because mine's in Libra, which tries to find a balance until the scales tip so far in one way and then it goes.
Right.
So yeah. Well, but we come back next week for part 2 of wonderful Tamra Judge, because we've got a lot more to talk about.
I'm excited. I want to dive in. I'm actually surprisingly intrigued. You know?
I know. She should be. And look, invitation again to Tamra. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to tell people to subscribe on
Oh my
YouTube.
God, subscribe. And you
Please
know
do.
what? Don't subscribe. I was just thinking about this because I downloaded Blue Sky. Have you used Blue Sky yet?
Oh, I just put us on Blue Sky. I put myself on Blue Sky. I put PCP on Blue Sky. So you're on Blue Sky now?
Blue Sky,
right.
Dahlia Brainshaw.
Perfect. So I'll link it all up and put those on there. So that'll be added to everything in the description box. But definitely, especially if you are watching these on YouTube, because it's much easier. Actually, I just had a friend today. She diehard listens to PCP, almost a day one listener, but she started watching these episodes on YouTube. She's like, oh yes, I can see more and I get more out of it. Definitely, if you can, watch them on YouTube, subscribe, give us a like. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and we're a little over 700, and I know we can do it. And I can't wait to the day that we're at like 10,000 subscribers. And I'm just like, do you remember we're begging for 1,000 subscribers?
Yes.
I know. I can't remember that day.
We're on our way.
No. All right, guys. Well, we will see you next week. Leave a comment. You know what? I might put up a poll on our Instagram stories and ask you which Beverly Hills housewife you want to hear from next.
Yes.
So, or leave it in the comments. Leave it in the comments. So,
Let
all
us
right,
know.
everybody. Next week. See y'all later.